Hello everyone. Welcome back to Ligem classes. In this video we are going to solve some MCQs on Portuguese. As you may already know this, Portuguese were one of the colonial powers that entered in India. Now before we solve the MCQs on Portuguese, let us know how we can reach to this MCQ section. Now there is something I have to tell you. You really don't have to watch this video. All you have to do is approach the MCQ section and you can straight away solve these MCQs. It's pretty much easy. So let me just show you how you can reach the MCQ section, and this is how you do it. First of all, you have to go to Ligem. Okay, so obviously ligem.com, and here you will find RRB General Awareness. You click here and you click on the English medium. You click on the English medium. And this is RRB GK syllabus. We have polity, we have history, geography, science, and economy. So we are going to the history section. You click here. And obviously, we are just constructing the section that is modern history. Rest of the sections, even like the polity, geography, science, and economy, they are not updated at this point. Give it 1 or 2 months and it will be updated. Okay, but at present, we are just going to work with modern history. So let me just click on modern history. Okay, so in modern history, we have to figure out where is our MCQs on Portuguese. Now remember this, the MCQs on Portuguese will come in this part, chapter 3, Advent of New European Powers. Okay, Advent of New European Powers. So you click here and you will be directed to the MCQ section. So let me just show you the MCQ section. Okay, so as you can see, this is the MCQ section. And let me just start solving all the question. Now we have the first question. Who constructed the fort of Anchidiva? So who constructed the fort of Anchidiva? It's a very simple question. It was constructed by Francisco de Almeida. Now Francisco de Almeida was one of the Portuguese governor generals. So the correct answer is option A, Francisco de Almeida. Okay. Now the second question. This Portuguese governor adopted the blue water policy. Again, this is a very important question because this policy was adopted by again Francisco de Almeida. He was one of the greatest governors of the Portuguese colonial rule in India. So the correct answer is option D, Francisco de Almeida. Where did Vasco da Gama establish the first Portuguese factory in India? Now the first Portuguese factory in India was established in Kerala. Now we do have choices like Trivandrum, Alleppey, Cochin and Madurai. So the correct answer is Cochin. It was in 1503 when the Vasco da Gama established the Portuguese factory in India. So the correct answer is option C, Cochin. Okay, so the Cape of Stone was renamed as, now remember this, earlier when the Portuguese sailed from Portugal, they crossed the Atlantic Sea. After that, they went at the tip of the African continent. So that tip was called as the Cape of Stone. And when they transversed it, when they passed to the Cape of Stone, they renamed it as Cape of Good Hope. So the correct answer is Cape of Good Hope. Who was the first Portuguese viceroy? Again, this is a very important question and a very easy one. Now, of course, Vasco da Gama reached India and in 1503 he established a factory in Cochin. Okay, but after that, the first Portuguese governor or the first Portuguese viceroy was Francisco de Almeida. Again, Francisco de Almeida, option A. When was the Portuguese factory established by first Portuguese factory established by Vasco da Gama? The first Portuguese factory established by Vasco da Gama was in 1503 and it was established in Cochin. This is a very important question. Now the second factory was established in 1505. It was in Kannur, again a place in Kerala. Okay. The first European powers to arrive in India. Now the very first European power to arrive in India was the Portuguese. So the correct answer of question 7 is option D, Portuguese. When did Vasco da Gama reached India for the first time? Now Vasco da Gama reached India for the first time in 1498. And when he reached the shores of Kerala, he was welcomed by the ruler of Kerala, that is Zamorin. So the correct answer is 1498. Who conquered Diu? Now, Alfonso de Alberic actually conquered Diu from the Gujarat king as well as from the king of Egypt. Now, what happened is Gujarat and I'm sorry, the Golconda king, the Sultan of Golconda, and as well as a powerful ruler from Egypt, they actually made an alliance against the Portuguese, and the Portuguese defeated the Egyptians as well as the Golconda king. So the correct answer is Alfonso de Albuquerque. He was the one who defeated both the Egyptians as well as the Golconda king to get due. The second factory established by the Portuguese. Now remember this, it was established in Kannur. The first Portuguese factory was established in Cochin. The second Portuguese factory was established in Kannur. So the correct answer is Kannur. Who was the first European to reach India after traveling the Atlantic Ocean? Now this is a very important question. Okay, so the first European to reach India after traveling the Atlantic Ocean was Bartholomew Diaz. Okay, so the correct answer is Bartholomew Diaz. Okay, who transferred the Portuguese government from Cochin to Goa? Now, what happened is in the later stages, the Portuguese power waned. So that is why one of the reason Portuguese actually transferred their power from Cochin to Goa, and the person or the governor who responsible for this transfer was Nino de Cana. So the correct answer is Nino de Cana. When did the Portuguese first time reach the southern tip of Africa? It was in 1487 when the Portuguese reached the southern tip of Africa. Later they renamed it as Cape of Good Hope. Earlier it was known as the Cape of Storms. So the correct answer is 1487. The Portuguese king who gave blessings to Vasco da Gama. It was King Manuel I who gave the order or the blessings to Vasco da Gama that he can go to a trip to India and make friendly relationship with India. Now, not just friendly relations, they also wanted spices and also they wanted to extend Christianity in India. So the correct answer is Manuel I. Who is also known as the navigator? Now, this is a very important question because Prince Henry is also known as the navigator. And unfortunately, he just wanted to figure out not unfortunately, he wanted to figure out an important way, easy way from Atlantic to India. Unfortunately, despite his best effort, he died before discovering. But he is also known as a saint for many, and the answer is Prince Henry, who set up his headquarters in Cochin. Now, the Cochin headquarters was set up by Alfonso de Albuquerque. Okay, so Alfonso de Albuquerque was one of the greatest generals, greatest governors of the Portuguese colonial presence in India. So he established many places, many forts, and one of the most important places was in Cochin. And he later established a headquarters in Cochin. After that, you should know that by Nino de Cana, the headquarters of Cochin was later shifted to Goa. So the correct answer is Alfonso de Albuquerque, the second Portuguese traveler who visited India after Vasco da Gama. Now, the second Portuguese traveler who visited India after Vasco da Gama was Pedro Alvarez Cabral. Okay, Pedro Alvarez Cabral. So the correct answer is option A, Pedro Alvarez Cabral. Okay, when was the Portuguese state in India established? Now, in 1503, after the establishment of the first factory in Cochin, the Portuguese also decided to establish a base or a state in India. And it happened in 1503. It was done by Vasco da Gama, exactly. So the correct answer is 1503. Then we have the 19th question. The Portuguese defeated the Egyptian king and the Gujarat Sultanate at this battle. I'm sorry, earlier we have mentioned it as Golconda Sultanate. I'm sorry, it is wrong. It is actually Gujarat Sultanate. And they were defeated at the Battle of Diu. Okay, so they were defeated by the Portuguese at the Battle of Diu. The Gujarati captain of Vasco da Gama who piloted the ship that reached India. I'm sorry, here again we have some error. Piloted the ship. It should come piloted the ship. So the correct answer is Abdul Majid. Okay, so the correct answer is Abdul Majid. He was the Gujarati captain of Vasco da Gama who piloted the ship which reached India. So the correct answer is Abdul Majid. So we have solved around 20 questions. So let's have a look how many of them are correct. So let me just click on finish. So we have 20 out of 20 correct answers. So we have solved 20 questions and out of 20 we have got all 20 right. Excellent. Okay, so I think there are around 10 MCQs on Dutch. Okay, 10 MCQs, and these are really important MCQs. Although not much questions comes on Dutch, and especially from this chapter, but let's solve these MCQs. These are really important ones. Okay, so we have the first question. The Dutch ship was called as. Now, the important thing you should know that the English, the Portuguese, the French, the Dutch, the Danes, they all had ships. They all of them had ships. But the Dutch ship was lightweight and really fast. Okay, and the important thing about the Dutch ship was that it had only a crew of 7 to 8 people. Okay, and they could manage the ship. This was the beauty of that ship, and the name of the ship was called as Fluid. Okay, Fluid. It was a lightweight ship, and it is one of the reasons why they could travel faster and easier than the rest of the colonial powers like the French, the British, the Portuguese, and even the Danes. So the correct answer is Fluid. Option C, Fluid. Who was the first Dutch traveler to reach India? Now, the correct option is Cornelius. Cornelius de Houtman. He was the first Dutch traveler who reached India. It was around 1590s. Okay, so the correct answer is Cornelius de Houtman. Option C, Cornelius de Houtman. Where was the first factory, Dutch factory established in India? So, most of the colonial powers had their factories established in a place called as Masulipatanam. This is very, very important place. Okay, so this place is actually in Andhra Pradesh, Masulipatanam. So this was the place where the colonial powers, even the Dutch, established their base. And for the Dutch, it was the first place. Okay, Masulipatanam. The Dutch gold coins minted in India was called as. So the Dutch actually went into the deep south, and they established a friendly relationship with a king called as King of Chandir Nagri or something, Chandirgiri or something, and he was a South Indian king, and he allowed the Dutch to mint their own currency. A dumb move, you should never do that. If you are an emperor or if you are a king, you should never allow a foreign power to mint their own currency. This is a very bad idea. Okay, so the correct answer is pagodas. So the Dutch were minting their own currency called as pagodas in India. So the correction is option D, pagodas. The first headquarters of Dutch kingdom in India was. Now, the Dutch actually started as a base somewhere near Masulipatanam. They established a second base in Nizapatnam, and after that they established a base in Pulicat. Now, Pulicat was a place that was given by the king of Chandirgiri. So the correct answer is Pulicat. Okay, option A, Pulicat. The clash between English and the Dutch that resulted in the deaths of 10 Englishmen. Now, this is a very important clash that happened in the modern age. Okay, only 10 English men died, but still it is known as massacre for some reason. And this happened in a place called as Amboya, and this Amboya is present in Indonesia. Okay, so this is a famous incident called as Amboya massacre. So the correct answer is option D, Amboya massacre. The English threw Dutch from India after this battle. Now, it was a battle in Bengal. Okay, this event happened in Bengal, and this battle was called as Battle of Bedara. English by then had firmly established their position, and they overthrew the Dutch easily. So the correct answer is Battle of Bedara. The new capital of Dutch was located in. So it was located in Nizampatnam. Now remember this, the earliest capital was located in Pulicat, and it was later shifted to Nizampatnam. So the correct answer is Nizampatnam. The second Dutch factory was established in. So the first factory that was established was in a place called as Masulipatanam, and after that it was established in Petolipoli. Okay, so the correct answer is Petolipoli, which is also known as Nizampatnam. Okay, Petolipoli or Nizampatnam if they give you the option. So the correct answer is Petolipoli or Nizampatnam, both are correct. Then we have the 10th. When did the first Dutch traveler reached India? So the correct answer is it was somewhere around 19. So the correct answer is 1596. Okay, it was Cornelius de Houtman who reached India, but here the option is 1590. So we are going with 1590. Okay, so let us explore how many of our answers are correct. Let me just click on finish. Okay, 9. Unfortunately, I have marked the correct answer wrong. Okay, so as you can see, this answer. Okay, I'm just giving you a glimpse what will happen. So as you can see, 1590 is wrong. The correct answer is 1596, but here I have mentioned it as 1506. Some error from my end. I'm really sorry about that. So it should be 1596. Okay, so I just rounded out at 1590. So this is also wrong. But the correct answer is 1596. Okay, the when did the first Dutch traveler reach India? It's 1596. That is why we have got one answer wrong. So that is why our result is 9 out of 10. Not 100%. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, we do have some MCQs on the English. So English were one of the few colonial powers that came from Europe. One of them was the Dutch. We have the Danish, we have the Portuguese, we have the French, and we have the English. There were actually 5 or 6 powers that came to India. Now we have obviously solved some MCQs on the Dutch. We have solved some MCQs on the French. Now we are going to solve the MCQs on the English. So let's get started. So this is how you solve the MCQs. Okay, so we have the first question. The Farman of 1717 was signed by this Mughal emperor. So the Farman of 1717 was landmark in Indian history. Because of this dumb Farman, English was able to get a lot of power in India. And this dumb Farman was signed by the Mughal emperor Farrukhsiyar. And even this Farman was really dumb and stupid. The reason why Mughal emperor signed this Farman was because Mughal emperor was sick, and he actually tried many Indian medicines, but it was only because of the English, only because of an English doctor, he was cured. And because of their helpful nature, because of their help, he actually gave them the rights to extract resources from Bengal, Bihar, and parts of Odisha. And they never had to pay any taxes and all those things. So this was a dumb move. So the correct answer is Farrukhsiyar. It was Emperor Farrukhsiyar who wanted to, who actually gave the Farman of 1717. This gave the Britishers to get the resources from the rich provinces of Bengal, Bihar, and parts of Orissa. So the correct answer is Farrukhsiyar. And one of the reasons why Farrukhsiyar gave this Farman was he was actually planning to marry a Rajput princess. And she was the daughter of Ajit Singh. Ajit Singh was actually a noble in the court of Farrukhsiyar. And the hurry was one of the this hurry was one of the reasons why Farrukhsiyar gave this Farman. Okay, so let's explore the second question. What was the initial name of the East Indian Company? Now, East Indian Company was established in 1599. So when it was established, it was given the title Merchant Adventurers. So the correct answer is option B, Merchant Adventurers. Okay, so now we have the third question. The British monarch that gave the permissions to East India Company to trade with India. Now, this permission was given by Queen Elizabeth. Now remember this. The East Indian Company was just a small company. Okay, it was not really big. It had some court of directors at that point. It was established in 1599. It was just a club. Okay, nothing really special about it. And by 1600, it was given the permission to trade with those countries that is east of Cape Hope. Okay, that is east of Cape Hope. So the correct answer is Queen Elizabeth. She was the one who gave the permission to East Indian Company that they can trade with those countries which is located east of Cape Hope. Now Cape Hope is some part located in somewhere near Africa. I'm not really sure. I'm sorry about that. So the correct answer is option C, Queen Elizabeth. Okay, option C, Queen Elizabeth. Where was the first English factory established in Bengal? Now remember this is a very important question. The first English factory that was established in Bengal was near Hooghly. Okay, so the correct answer is option A, Hooghly. The ship that brought William Hawkins to India. Now this is not exactly an important question, but just a fun question. Now William Hawkins was the first English to set his foot on Indian soil. Now this is a recorded history that William Hawkins came to India and he was the first Englishman. And he came on a ship called as Hector. Okay, the correct answer is Hector. So option C, Hector. When was the Farman given to the English to establish base in Surat? Now this Farman was given by Emperor Jahangir. Okay, so this was the Farman that was given by Emperor Jahangir, which allowed the English to establish a factory in Surat. So the correct answer is 1609. It was in 1609 when the English were allowed to establish a factory in Surat. However, they actually came for one specific reason. They wanted to establish factories in all parts of India. But unfortunately, the Portuguese were already present in the Mughal court. And the Portuguese said to the Mughal emperor, these Englishmen can't be trusted, so don't give all the ports, all the factories in India to them. And that is why they were only given the permission to set a base or the factory in Surat. So it was in 1609 when Emperor Jahangir allowed them to establish a base in Surat. Where was the first presence of East India Company truly established? Now it was again somewhere, it was in Surat, the first presence of East India Company truly established. Now this is actually a tricky question. Now we do have Surat as well as Madras. Okay, the first presence of East Indian Company truly established. There are two choices here, which is actually Surat and Madras. Now the first actual presence was in Surat. They later shifted to Madras, and from Madras they went to Bengal. So the correct answer should be Surat. I may be wrong. Okay, I may be wrong. So the correct answer is, I think, is Surat. But we will check when our answers, if our answers are correct or not. Okay, don't worry. So next question. Which king set Thomas Roe as the ambassador to the court of Jahangir? Now it is King William. It can be King Thomas, King Philip, or King James. Now it was King James who gave the permission to Thomas Roe that you become an ambassador and go to the court of Jahangir to get more permissions for trade. So the correct answer is option D, King James. The Golden Farman by this ruler helped English to trade from the ports of Golconda. Now during that time, the Golconda region, that's part of Deccan, it was ruled by the Bijapur Sultans. Okay, so it was after the decay of the Vijayanagar Empire, after the collapse of Vijayanagar Empire, and during this time it was the Bijapur Sultans. So the correct answer is option A, Bijapur Sultan. When did the English defeated the Portuguese? Now, if you may remember, the Portuguese was one of the earliest colonial powers to come in India, and they had established a firm base in India. Okay, and they actually reached the Mughal court, and they were part of the Mughal court. And during this time, the English came and they understood that unless Portuguese are not driven out of India, there is no chance they can make business with the Indian rulers. And that is why they had a huge fight, a huge battle, that is Battle of Swali Hole. And this happened in 1611. So the correct answer is 1611. Which Englishman went to Mughal court to obtain permission for the trade between Britain and India? Now the correct answer can be many things. Okay, James Earl William Hawkins. Now the correct answer is William Hawkins. He was the Englishman who went to the Mughal court to obtain permission for the trade between Britain and India. So the correct answer is option B, William Hawkins. When was the East Indian Company given the royal charter by the British monarchy to establish the trade with India? Now we do have some answers here: 1500, 1600, 1678 and 1786. Now 1500 cannot be right. Okay, this is because 1599 was the date when East India Company was established. So 1500 is wrong. Now 1600 is the correct answer. That is option B, because in 1600 Queen Elizabeth I gave the permission that the East Indian Company can trade the east into these countries, that is the east of Cape Hope. So the correct answer is 1600. Then we have the 13th question, the fort built by the British around Madras. Now, Britishers built quite a lot of forts, and one of the earliest fort that built by Britishers was in Madras, and this was known as Fort St. George. They also built another fort in Devapatnam. We will learn about that later, called as Fort St. David. We will learn about that later. Okay, so the correct answer is Fort St. George. It is one of the earliest fort built by the Britishers. So the correct answer is Fort St. George. When did the East Indian Company declare a war against the Mughals for the first time? Now this is a very important question. So during the time of Aurangzeb, the Britishers or the East India Company actually thought that they can defeat the Mughals. Okay, they were a small power in India. Despite the fact that they were a small power in India, they actually thought that they could defeat the English. But unfortunately, the current ruler of the Mughals as well as India was Aurangzeb. He swiftly defeated the Britishers, overthrew them, and destroyed all their bases. So the correct answer is it was in 1688 that the Britishers were defeated. Not only they declared the war against the Mughals, but also were defeated by the Mughals. It was 1688. When did the English allow to set up factories all over India? So when did the English allow to set up factories all over India? This is because of a farman that was given in 1615. Okay, so in 1615, Jahangir gave a permission that you can set up bases all over India. And so the correct answer is it was in 1615. When was the East India Company formed? Now remember this, East Indian Company was formed as Merchant Adventurers. That was the real name, Merchant Adventurers. It was actually formed in 1599, and in 1600, within 1 year, they were given the permission to trade, that is from the east of Cape Hope. Okay, so the correct answer is 1599. Calcutta, whose zamindari rights the British got, was placed under the protection of this fort. Now, it was during the time of, I think it was during the time of, we have the later Mughal rulers, the Britishers expanded a lot. And during this time, during the later Mughals, when the Mughals were really weak, inefficient, and corrupt, the Britishers built a fort around parts of Bengal, especially in Hooghly region. And Hooghly and Calcutta was made under the protection of this particular fort, and this particular fort was Fort James. Okay, so this is a very important fort, that is Fort James. Where was the first English factory in South India established? Now, the first English factory in India was established in Surat. Now, that's the correct answer, Surat. But, where was the first English factory in South India established? It is Masulipatnam. Okay, so the correct answer is Masulipatnam. The Mughal emperor who gave permission to the English to establish factories in Surat, it was Jahangir. Jahangir was the one who gave permission to the English emissary to establish factories in parts of Surat. Even though the English emissary came with the permission, came with the idea that he would be able to establish factories all over India, but he didn't get the permission because of the Portuguese. Portuguese never allowed not allowed, asked the Mughal emperor that do not give permission to Englishmen. They are not good people. So that is why they never got the permission. It's just not a genuine reason. There are many other more reasons. It's mostly like the Portuguese. It was the reason because of the Portuguese. Okay, you just have to know that it was because of the Portuguese. The English were not allowed to establish factories all over India. But after the Battle of Swali, okay, Swali Hole, the Britishers defeated the Portuguese, and after that, in 1615, they got the permission from Jahangir that they can establish any kinds of factories all around India. So the correct answer is the Mughal emperor who gave permission to the English to establish factories in Surat is Jahangir. The Nawab who objected to the Farman of 1717. So one of the conditions of the Farman of 1717 was the Britishers were allowed to extract the resources from Bengal and Bihar, and they had to pay zero or negligible fees. Okay, a very little fees. So this negligible fees was a problem for the Nawab of Bengal. And this Nawab of Bengal was Murshid Quli Khan. And it was also held that this Farman of 1717 was a bad idea by Ali Wardi Khan, his successor. So the correct answer is Murshid Quli Khan. Okay, so the correct answer is Murshid Quli Khan. This Mughal emperor defeated the English at Hooghly. So in 1688, the English had a clever idea that they can overthrow the Mughal rule from India. And it was a bad and dumb idea. And they tried to act smart. And unfortunately, they were living in the times of Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. And you obviously know or have a brief idea or of a gist of Aurangzeb. Okay, he was not really a guy that you want to mess with. He was cruel, he was vicious, and he was a very strong Mughal ruler. And he swiftly defeated the Britishers at Hooghly. So the correct answer is Aurangzeb. So who established a factory in Sultanate? Okay, so it was Jacob Charnock. Okay, Sutanati was a factory or a fort that was established in Sutanati, and Sutanati was basically a part of Kolkata. Sutanati, Gobindnagar, and as well as Calicut eventually became called as Kolkata right now. Okay, so during the initial stages, there was a place called as Sutanati where Jacob Charnock established a factory. Which Englishman obtained the permission to establish trading posts at all places in Mughal Empire? So the correct answer is Thomas Roe. He was the one who got the permission, and he got the permission in 1615 after the English had defeated the Portuguese, and he got the permission from Jahangir. The attempt to fortify this place by English brought the wrath of Mughals. So again, once again, it was um, it was in Surat. Okay, it was in Surat after the Britishers got. There was actually two times in the earlier stages. There were two times the Britishers fought against the Mughals. The first time they started fortifying the parts of Surat. And the second time they actually challenged the Mughal authority. It was in 1688. In first, that is 1617 or 1618, they actually challenged the Mughals when they started fortifying the fort of Surat. Okay, some parts of Surat. And in 1688, they actually challenged the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. So the correct answer is option D, Surat. The initial commodity for trade with India was. Now, spices was the genuine reason for the trade with India. The Britishers came for only one purpose, that was spices. Later, they expanded for clothes, jewelry, perfumes, and rest of the things. But initial reason was spices. So the correct answer is spices. The battle in which the Portuguese were defeated by the English. It was the Battle of Swally Hole. So, as you may know this, the Portuguese were the paramount power, the paramount European power, paramount European colonial power in India. Okay, so during those times, the Mughals were really powerful. Okay, and the Portuguese were the nobles in the Mughal court, and the Portuguese had some firm bases in Mughal places. And when the Britishers came, the Portuguese actually conspired and asked the Mughal emperors to throw them out, to throw the Britishers out. So Britishers realized that unless the Portuguese are not thrown away from India, there is no chance they can actually make businesses with the Mughal emperor. And that is why the Battle of Swally Hole was fought. It was one of the reasons why Battle of Swally Hole was fought, and the Portuguese were unfortunately defeated. So the correct answer is Battle of Swally Hole. When did the English manage to secure Madras from Indian ruler? So it was in 1639. Okay, so it was in 1639 when the English managed to secure Madras from Indian ruler, and the king was and the Indian ruler was the king of Chandir Nagri or something. Okay, not really that important. So the correct answer is 1639. So what happened in 1615? After 1615, Thomas Roe actually got the permission from Jahangir, okay, to establish bases all over the country. Now, in 1618, the English got smart and decided to build a fort near Surat. And that is why this annoyed the Mughal emperor. And the Britishers were destroyed from Surat. So the Britishers decided to go to the south and build their bases there. And in 1639, it was one of the, not the first, okay, one of the first bases that they built in Madras. So the correct answer is 1639. The European enemy of the English during the initial days of colonialism in India. Now the Portuguese Portuguese were one of the first colonialist power that arrived in India, and the Britishers or the Englishmen had trouble with the Portuguese. So the correct answer is Portuguese. Okay. The Fort Saint David was originally known as, so near Madras. Okay, near Madras there was one place called as Fort Devapatnam, and this fort called as Fort Devapatnam was purchased by the Britishers. And after they purchased it, they renamed it as Fort St. David. So the correct answer is Fort Devapatnam. Who was able to secure Madras from Indian rulers? So it was Francis Day. Okay, so this is a very important question. So it was Francis Day who secured the Madras or the places around Madras from Indian ruler. And the Indian ruler was king of Chandir Nagri or something. It's not really important name. Okay, so the correct answer is Francis Day. Let me just click this. Okay, so we have solved around 30 MCQs. So let me just click on finish to check how many of them are correct. Okay, so we have one MCQ wrong. Okay, so let's explore which of them is wrong. So nope. So one of our MCQ is wrong. Okay, so let's explore. Okay, yeah. So the correct answer is the Kalikata, whose zamindari rights the British got placed was in the protection of Fort William. So the correct answer is Fort William. I unfortunately named it as Fort James. So the correct answer is Fort Williams. Okay. So this is how you solve the MCQ. You solve all these MCQs and just click on finish, and you just check how many answers you got it right. Okay, and if you're studying for RRB, you must solve this MCQ. It's not necessary you watch this video, but you have to solve these MCQs. It's really important. Thanks. So the Danish, as you may know, if you have studied the lecture, you may know that they had some colonial presence in India. Now there are only 7 questions, and when compared to other colonial powers like the Portuguese, the British, the French, the Danes were actually had very low presence in India. Okay, so let's explore and let's solve some MCQs. I think there are 7 MCQs. Okay, 7 of them. Okay, so let's get started. So let's deal with the first MCQ. When was the Danish East India Company established? So the Danish East India Company was established in 1616. I repeat this again. It was established in 1616. Now these dates are important. Okay, because when was the British East India Company established? When was the French East Indian Company established? These dates are quite important. Now, 1616 is the date when the Danish East India Company was established. So, the date that is 1616 is very important. Okay, so this was during the time of the Mughal emperors. Okay, 1616. So, the first answer is 1616. Okay, where did the Danes establish their first trading post in India? So basically, of course, they navigated a certain parts of India, but they thoroughly established their presence only in Tanjavur. In the first stages, they established their presence in Tanjore. Tanjore is in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so the correct answer is option C, Tanjore. Then we have the third question. An important town famous for missionary activities in India by Danes. So after they established their base in Tanjore, they slowly, like the rest of the European powers, they started to go towards the east. Okay, so they started going towards the east, and there was a place called as Sirampur. Okay, Sirampur in West Bengal. So this place was basically the place where the Danes started their missionary activities. When the term missionary activity means you have some Christian missionaries, and the Danish were strictly Christians. And what they did is they enticed people with prayers, healings, medicines, and they asked people to convert to Christianity. Okay, so the many of the Indians in parts of Bengal, they were converted to Christianity. So the correct answer is Sirampur. Okay, so this was the place famous for Christian activities of Danes in India. The last trading post of Danes was given to. So by 1854, the Danes were defeated by the Britishers, and the last trading post was of Sirampur, and it was given to the Britishers. So the correct answer is option C, British. Okay, so let's have a look at the fifth question. Frederick Nagar of Danes was located in. Now, Frederick Nagar was an important post that was located in Sirampur. Sirampur is in West Bengal. So the correct answer is option D, Sirampur. When did Sirampur transfer to the Danish crown? So, as you may know this, the Danish East Indian Company was different from the Danish government. Danish government was basically the Danish crown. So, in 1777, the Danes had run into some financial problems. The Danish East Indian Company run into some financial problems. And because of that, they had to transfer this power from the East Indian Company, the Danish East Indian Company, to Danish crown. So the date is 1777. And let me ask you a bonus question. When was the East India Company, the British East Indian Company, transferred their power to the crown, the British crown? The correct answer is after the revolt of 1857. Okay, the correct answer is 1857. So in this case, the correct answer is 1777. So the option A, that is, okay, question number 6, option A, that is 1777. Then we have the last question. When did the Danes ended their activities in India? Now this is a repeated question. The last base was Sirampur. Now remember this, Sirampur is very important when we are concerned with Danes or the Danish people. and they ended their activities in 1854, some 3 years before the revolt of 1857. And in 1854, the region was given to the Britishers. Britishers by the time were the paramount power. So the correct answer is 1854. Okay, so let us check how many of our answers are right. We have solved 7 of them. So let's check. Let me just click on finish. Okay, our all the answers are right. 7 out of 7. So we are going to solve around 15 excellent MCQs. I think there are 15 of them. Okay, 15 excellent MCQs. Yes, there are 15 MCQs. So we are going to solve each of them. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Who founded the Compagnie des Indes Orientales? Basically, it's the French term for East Indian Company. So, as you may already know this, the Britishers had their own East Indian Company. Likewise, the French also had their own East Indian Company. Similarly, the Dutch had the East Indian Company. So, not only there was the French government located in French, there was a company in India called as the Compagnie d'Orientales. Now, this company was established by a person called as Colbert. Now, this is a very important person, Colbert. Remember this, memorize this, Colbert. Okay, so the correct answer is Colbert. Okay, so now the second question, which French king gave the permission to trade with India? Now, Colbert actually had to take permission from the French king. It's like this, Adani or Ambani has to take permission from Narendra Modi to make an a big business deal with Australia. Something like this. So Colbert was a businessman or a administrator. Let's ignore that. Colbert was the one who established Compagnie Orientales, and he had to take the permission from the French king. Now, the French king with whom he took the permission was King Louis IV. I repeat this again, King Louis IV. So the correct answer is option A, King Louis IV. Okay, so Chandir Nagar was located in. Now, as you may know that the Bengal was the hotbed of activities for the Britishers and the French. So French established their base in Bengal, and Chandir Nagar was an important place for them. So Chandir Nagar was located in Bengal. Okay, so the correct answer is Bengal. Which island groups in Indian Ocean were captured by the French? Now, there were 2 important island groups that were captured by the French in the Indian Ocean. One was Mauritius and the second was Reunion Island. Okay, so the correct answer is option A, Mauritius and Reunion Island. So the correct answer is Mauritius and Reunion Island. An important treaty that the French signed with the Dutch. Now, the French had some issues with the Dutch, and the Dutch actually captured some parts of Pondicherry from the French. And to reclaim it back, the French fought and somehow managed to win parts of Pondicherry. And this treaty, which enabled the French to get back some of its territories, was the Treaty of Ryswick. The correct answer is the Treaty of Ryswick, option D. Remember this is a very important question. Treaty of Ryswick. Where was the French capital of India located? Now, the French base was thoroughly established in a place called as Pondicherry. Now, it's obviously a tourist place, a really important, nice place for Indian tourists right now, but the real capital of the French was established in Pondicherry for their operations. So, the correct answer is option C, Pondicherry. Okay. Which French general founded Pondicherry? Now, this is a very important question. First, of course, Colbert established the French East Indian Company. He was succeeded by a person called as Caron. And after that, after Caron, there was a guy called as Francois Martin. Francois Martin was an important person for French in India because he actually persuaded the king of Bijapur, Ibrahim Lodi, Sher Shah Lodi, Sher Shah Ibrahim Lodi, to give him some parts of land. And Sher Shah Ibrahim Lodi, pleased with him, gave some parts of land in Pondicherry. So, because of the Bijapur king, Francois Martin was able to establish a permanent base in Pondicherry. So, the correct answer is Francois Martin. Which was the last colonial powers to enter India? So, obviously, you know this that the first one or the first one of the first was the Portuguese, and then came the Dutch, the Britishers, the Danish, and then at the last we have the French. So the correct answer is the French. Okay, so it was the last colonial power to reach India. Who was the first Director General of French facilities in India? Now, obviously, you know this. Colbert established the French East Indian Company, but he was not the director. He was not the director. Caron was the first director of the French facilities in India. So the correct answer is Caron, a place where the French established their presence in East India. So this is a repeated question. You obviously know that it was in Chandornagar in Bengal where they actually established their presence, real presence in India. So the correct answer is Chandirnagar. Which of these places never had a French presence? Now, of course, Mahe had a French presence. You obviously know hear about a lot about Mahe. Karikal, yes, of course, and Balasore, yes, true. So these three are true. Jaipur is the odd one out. So the correct answer is Jaipur. Jaipur never had any French presence. They had some emissaries from French, but the French never was able to persuade the Rajputs in Jaipur. So it was again the Britishers who managed to keep the Jaipur and as well as the Rajputs under their control. So the correct answer is Jaipur. French never had any presence in Jaipur. When was the French factory in Masulipatam set up? So Masulipatam is a very important French base, okay, and later it was handed to other colonial powers. But for the time being, we have to know that when was the French factory in Masulipatam set up? It was actually set up in 1669. So the correct answer is 1669. Okay. Which region was the bone of contention for the French and British colonial powers in India? Now, obviously, you know the French and Britishers were the colonial powers from Europe. So Britishers always had the advantage, even though one of the reasons was that French actually came late, very late, and the Britishers and the French, they were never friends. They actually fought with each other a lot. And one of the battleground was in India, and one of the key places they were really interested in was Tanjore. Okay, so the correct answer is Tanjore. So after French conquered Tanjore, Britishers were really angry. Okay, and they then schemed to get rid of French from India. So the correct answer is Tanjore. When was the French East Indian Trading Company was formed? So the French East Indian Trading Company was formed in 1664, and it was established by Colbert under the patronage of King Louis IV. So the correct answer is 1664. When was the where was the first French factory in India set up? So the first French factory in India was set up in Surat. The first French factory in India was set up in Surat. So the correct answer is Surat. So we have solved around 15 questions. So let me just click on finish to check how many of them are correct. So let me just click on finish. 15 out of 15, that is 100%. We have got all the answers correct. Excellent.